So you're in China and an emergency happens. Who do you call? Don't worry, in this video, I'll show you coming up. For those of you new to my channel, my name is Michael and I provide tips and tricks about foreigners having a better lifestyle in China. So if you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification because I post videos every week. Anyways, you're in China and an emergency happens and you don't know what to do. Well, there's an easy way to do this. You can actually text the police, and don't think of China as having like a 911 like in the US. As you see, if you call 911, they'll dispatch all kinds of services for you. It's like a one-stop shop. It's kind of like that in China, but a little bit different, and I'll explain the differences in a little bit. So there are typically 4 different numbers you can call in China. Now granted, to call these numbers, you do need a Chinese phone. If you don't know how to get a Chinese phone in China, you can refer to the link up there, and I'll put it down in the description below. So the first number I'll talk about is 110. So Chinese, when they're young in school, their parents usually tell them, when in doubt, when you're in trouble, call 110, which is like their police, almost like our 911 in the United States. The difference is that this 110 usually deals with crimes, like a theft happened or there's disturbance outside and you want to report to the police so they can handle it. They specialize in that area. If they can't help you with the situation, if it's like medical related or something to do with a fire, they can still transfer you to the right department and you can still get the help needed. However, do note that if you do give them a call, you need to be able to speak some Chinese, or at least give it to a Chinese person that can speak some Chinese. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you how to do this in English. So the second number you can call is 119. Think of it as like the fire department, where like you get your cat stuck up on a tree, like you help in those situations, or there's like a grave fire or disaster happening nearby. You can call this number and help them. And yes, China also does have an animal response program. So if you were to see some kind of animal abuse happening, you can also report it to this number and they'll take action accordingly. Another number is 120, which is medical services. Like someone's fallen down and they can't get up, like in those Life Alert commercials.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
We're sending help immediately, Mrs. Fletcher.
Or you just have an issue where you can't get to the hospital and you need an ambulance immediately. You would call 120 for this situation. And then the last number you can call is 122. Think of this as a traffic police. I'm not talking about if you get in a collision or a fender bender, you want to dispute a case, that would still be 110. This would be like if a stoplight were to go out or there was like an obstruction on the road and you need the traffic to be controlled in that area. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've been to some rural areas in China. They don't have any stoplights and it can get pretty chaotic. So now that you know the 4 big numbers you can call in China if you have a Chinese cell phone, if you don't speak any Chinese, what do? Don't worry, you can text them. So if you're living in a big major city or maybe even a second-tier city, you're in luck. You can see the table right here shows all the cities that supports this function, which is texting the police. Think of this as like similar to a one-stop shop, but it can be helpful for foreigners. So just going through an example. So like I said before, the 911 of China is 110. However, if you text, you must add the numbers 1, 2, then 110, then your 3-digit district number. So as I mentioned, I live in Guangzhou, and let's say I want to text the police. I witnessed an accident in an intersection and someone's gravely hurt. So in that case, I will text the number 12, then 110, which is the 911 in China, plus a 3-digit code. On the table, you can see that Guangzhou's 3-digit code is 20. So you're probably wondering, where's the other digit? Well, if your city only has 2 digits, you must add 10 in the beginning to make it a 3-digit code. So to text them, I would have to type 12 110 020 to contact the police in Guangzhou. So now that you have that number, which I highly suggest that you save it into your favorites or your contacts in the event you need to quickly text the police and you don't want to remember like the table and the district you're in. So I always have Google Translate with me, although my Chinese is probably good enough now to actually have a conversation with the police. I'm still not so familiar with addresses because they use sometimes weird characters that I haven't learned yet. So what can you do? You can text the police in English and they will translate it themselves. However, I do not recommend that because sometimes you might get the 不明白 or 听不懂 of response from them. What I recommend is you use a third-party app like Google Translate to type your text or your situation in English, copy and paste the Chinese characters, and then send the text. Another way is you can take a picture of the site yourself. So if there's an emergency happening, you can easily take a picture, of the area and then text them the picture. You can even text them the picture of the address nearby. So like I would get the intersection plate and just take a picture of that and then send it to them. And then they'll know exactly what's going on. Typically, once they have enough information, they usually have like a minimal amount of information they need, they can send the right services to help you out. Again, I want to emphasize, if you want to use this feature, you must use a Chinese phone. But if you do text them and you don't have any signal, it will still work. Like in the US, if you don't have any signal, you can still type 911 and it'll work. Just realize that it's best to contact them in Chinese using Google Translate, so type what you need in English. So there you have it. This is the new function where you can actually text the police and describe them your situation in an emergency. Don't worry though, if you think this is a lot of information to process and trying to memorize all these numbers, I'll put a link to the article in my description below so that you can go ahead and read through it when you have some time. Anyways, I hope you never have to use this number, but it's always good to have in your back pocket. I suggest you save it in your contacts so that you have it on the go anytime an emergency were to happen, because you never really know when they do. If you found some value from this video, please smash that like button. And if you want to see more tips and tricks about having a better lifestyle in China as a foreigner, so consider subscribing and smashing that bell icon so that you can get notified every time I upload a video about having a better lifestyle in China. Feel free to tap or click the screen right here about having a better lifestyle in China. Anyways, guys, keep surviving and I'll catch you in the next one.